Peace. Welcome to Outback Orchards, a permaculture farm initiated by the Harvest Collective. And happy Earth Day! We're all about ecosystem restoration through community collaboration here on this farm here at Outback Orchards. The Harvest Collective is, that's our rooster Bruce. The Harvest Collective is working on 3 different properties this season. We started last season here at Outback Orchards in 2019. I'm going to take you on a tour of Outback Orchards today, and you are welcome to come join us if you are interested in homesteading, permaculture, botany, keeping plants, if you have a passion for plants, or herbalism. We are all really into those topics, also growing mushrooms as well as aquaponics. There's different people in the collective who have different passions for all of those things, and we're kind of forming ourselves together as a permaculture workers guild so that we can formalize our ecosystem restoration as a business and a practice that can build real ecosystem abundance that provides for our nourishment in a really holistic way. I'm really excited about this project. It's been a long time coming for me. My name's Davey Stewards, and I've been thinking a lot for a long time about how do we build community ownership in ecosystems as a way and mode of climate resiliency and giving back to the earth, you know? And it was that idea originally, but it's really evolved into I just love relating and having my feet on the ground and meeting plants and relating to my ecosystem around me in a way that nourishes me. I'm not 100% living off the lands yet, but I feel like that step is going to happen later this season. And it's a large part to the activity of our community that's come together to steward this land here and for us to build that solidarity together. Instead of just saving up a bunch of money and going to buy some property somewhere so we can live in our secluded community, you know, the idea is that we can still live our lives, still work our jobs, but we can come together to a space and cultivate and grow sustainably together. That's the basis of the Harvest Collective. We are also this season working on starting Roanoke City's first permitted compost facility, which is an incredible project. We're going to be reaching out more to the general community here over the summertime to fundraise about $40K to get this compost facility started. We're working with Craig Coker Consulting. He's been in the composting business for I think 20 or 25 years. He's an expert. And this will be located in Northeast on the property next door to Outback Orchards. So it'll be a part of a collaborative project with Leap for Local Food to build a regenerative agriculture food hub here in Roanoke City. I am so blessed and honored to be doing this work. So this is our friend Echinacea purpurea, and this is Monarda didium. This is wild bergamot. This is purple coneflower. These are a couple of the plants that we have here on the farm. We did a project with Roanoke Go Outside Festival last fall, and we planted all of these plants, these native medicinal plants throughout the garden here, and they're now all starting to sprout back up because it's springtime. And if you came that weekend, I want you to know stuff is doing good. It really turned out well. And things are progressing here rapidly at Outback Orchards. This is a on-contour bioswale here, which we built to collect all the rainwater that flows behind me. So we don't water this. This just grows. And we planted plants that'll just grow, so we don't spend all this time managing. The idea is that eventually all of these native plants that we have are going to make small clumps here that will consume this mulch area. We'll continue mulching every year, but that'll be minimum maintenance, and we can also harvest some of these plants to make teas or herbal tinctures or salves in the future. So these are, I'm flanked by raspberries, heritage raspberries, some of my favorite cane crops that you can grow. You get raspberries in the spring and the fall. They're incredible. They spread like crazy. They're going to pop up all over here. So when you come here, you will see all these plants and you will get to learn what they do and maybe incorporate them in your life. And maybe if another extra raspberry plant, you know, pops up, you go home with that as a part of the collective. When we make some more, you know, medicines from this in the future, because these plants are our community investment. You know, this is like part of our toolkit for holistic health, like having these nutrient-dense plants that we can make teas and salves and tinctures out of provides us with a certain amount of folklore medicine and connection to our ancestors for how they live with plants and how they connected with their own healing as a part of the land. And that's the way that I really connect to this, is like I'm a part of the land and I'm just seeing and witnessing this life come forth. This is a plant polyculture here, so this is going to spread and take over. This is superstar yarrow, which we have a lot of all over here. We just planted one little sprig last spring, and there's this much of it all over here. It's mixing in with some more wild bergamot right there. So the idea is we don't want to like stop things from growing. We want to let them grow and get abundant so the bees can come out and pollinate them. And the insects that have relationships with those plants will be here, and that adds to the ecosystem wealth of not just like the human species, but the birds and the worms and the microbes in the soil and the lizards, and you know, just this incredible diversity of life that we need to open up to and integrate with as a living species on the planet, rather than domineering over and extracting and taking from, and never feeling that reciprocity with the land. You know, like that is our ancestral lifeblood and connection to the future generations, is changing this climate chaos and job uncertainty, you know, economic stressors. We need the land to heal us and our economy together. And that is why I believe and have poured my life into the Harvest Collective. What's up, Bruce? That's our rooster, Bruce. He's loud. He's in charge here. He's kind of a jerk. We avoid him mostly. I use a stick to poke him away from me when I go in the coop. We have 30 egg-laying birds here on the farm that we got last season. We built this coop last season as well. Pretty much everything you're gonna see, besides what I point out, was built in the last year through about 7,000 hours of work from the people who came and worked as the collective last season. We had about 25 active members and about 40 or 50 people who came and volunteered or checked us out for a day or two last season. We did mask up when we were here most of the time, when we got into close circles, but when we went off and worked by ourselves, we would allow people to breathe the air around us because it's beautiful. These are some of the eggs. We get about 25 eggs a day. There's some of our beautiful ladies. Hey, ladies. You can see I came and looked here a couple hours ago, or like an hour ago, there were 7 eggs. Now there's 6, 9, 12 eggs. So they're filling it up. Members, as a part of coming to work on the farm, are able to go home with eggs and some of the other things that we're growing on the farm. That's part of what we're trying to do, is that direct food resiliency through participation and through adding your energy and effort to building up nature. We're trying to open up those pathways so you could get some nutrition from this, but we will get so... The important thing to realize about this is, like, it's a process. Let's walk away from the rooster. It's a process, and we're gonna get so much more out of it in the long term than we get this year. It's gonna be like exponential, you know, when the fruit trees come in and the raspberries are all maintained and the blackberries are all set up and the elderberries are producing, and when the hazelnuts kick in and the chestnuts kick in, we're gonna have a real source of food for a number of people. And those people are going to be the people who put the energy and time and love and effort into building this beautiful perennial paradise of food. Over here you'll see some of our baby chicks that we got in the mail a little while ago. Probably just stick it in there and catch a shot of them. You can get them where, yeah, there you go. Some of those are egg layers that we're going to integrate into our coop with the other birds, and some of those are Cornish cross broiler hens, which are for eating, for our consumption. So we're trying to do sustainable meat harvesting here for our members, something that we all participated in last year and really learned a lot from the process of killing our own food. Not to be taken lightly. Don't come that day if that's not what your thing. We have vegans who don't feel like they have to be offended by us trying to do the sustainable right thing you know, on that level with the birds. So yeah, these are some of the fruit trees here. These are some apple trees that were planted before the orchard, before we got involved with the orchard. So these are probably going to produce this year. We got some apples from them last year. You can see some of them blossoming. These are our apple blossoms. These become the apples, of course, on the trees. And we're going to show off some of these other plants over here. This section here, we're developing with elderberry. This is a beautiful, beautiful shrub, very prolific, grows huge, and it makes the medicine for flu-like systems and viruses and chest congestion. So you can literally harvest the elderberries and make syrups out of them. And my wife and I have been spending a boatload of money to keep ourselves well supplied in the winter time. So part of our health resiliency is growing these elderberries. You can of course eat the elderberries too, and the flowers are medicinal as well, but they grow easy. You don't have to work, you don't have to do a ton of work to take care of them. They'll just grow. Well, we're gonna have to prune them, but they're just gonna grow. And that's planning an ecosystem for resiliency in your relationship with it. I need to be resilient against these bugs that are flying around in the world, so let's put the plant that makes the medicine for it in our community. Let's make that relationship with that plant. Let's harvest those berries from that plant, and let's do it in a way that breaks down the barriers of access so we don't need to work, you know, so many hours a week at some job to pay for it at Earth Fair, you know? No offense, Earth Fair, thank you. But y'all get what I'm saying. So some elderberries, some more monarda. We're gonna take a gander up here to some of our fruit trees that are growing on the property. These right here, this is, we have 26 fruit trees, I believe, in this section of the garden. This is an Asian pear here that we planted last year. All of these fruit trees were planted last year with the effort of everybody. These are some beautiful hardneck garlic that one of our members brought and planted here with all of our help. So we're all gonna get some nice garlic harvest from that. And you could grow garlic next to your fruit trees, you know? They repel insects. They bring, they're a bulb that suppresses grasses from growing around your fruit tree. In general, you want your fruit tree to have more of a fungal relationship with the soil, while grass has more of a bacterial relationship with the soil. So it's really important to build up the wood chips and to put plants around there that can help create that fungal layer and keep the grass away, really. We have a number of plants here. This is a aronia berry, Viking aronia. They call it black chokeberry. But it's really high in antioxidants, super high in antioxidants. You mix it in with your smoothie, it gives you some more energy, and it feels like it just kind of like cleans my stomach. It just feels good inside of me. It doesn't taste terrible. If you eat it raw, it tastes kind of chalky, but it's still a good berry, and it's a native plant too. So this is one that literally you can plant and just have throughout. Right here we have a reindeer cherry. And we have a couple more cherries and peaches. If you just want to flash and pan down that way, you can see we have some more cherries and peaches and apples down there at the end. We're going to pass over. I'm going to give a shout out to Comfrey. Nice plant for making salves out of. We're at about 10 minutes, is that right?
13.
13 minutes? Okay, cool. We're going to go for another 4 minutes. We're going to go over 15 a little bit, but not much. I'm just going to show you all our potato planting. Right here, we planted a bunch of potatoes out here as well as down there. These are a number more fruit trees. Up there is a whole hazelnut grove. We also have some plums, and what's growing all wild there is the annual rye. So we're going to grow a bunch of beans. This is part of our cover crop before we go and plant bush beans in that area. We're also going to grow sweet potatoes up there because gotta grow a bunch of sweet potatoes. And I'm going to take y'all down. We're going to go down to a couple more of these fruit trees and the berries. And I'm sorry, there's so much to see and cover. You're gonna have to come check us out sometime. And the other people in the collective are really cool, and I've just been like so humbled and honored that everybody's gotten involved and made this part of their routine on Saturdays. People come here and say, hey, this is my favorite place to come. It's good to be outside and do something that feels meaningful. Yeah, let's just go look at this flowers, huh? How about the flowers popping up? You know, just a little bit of beauty in our lives. Just so great. This is a Asian persimmon, I believe. Nope, Asian pear. It's our Asian pear section over here, and Asian persimmons as well. Down here, you can see our big old blackberries. See those growing up the trellis. We have some boysenberries and raspberries as well. These are all fruit trees that we're tending and we've been pruning and mulching that were planted 7 years ago. So we're hoping that we can get a harvest of fruit from these trees. There's also 16 more trees in the back of the house over there. And let's just walk down here, Taylor, real quick. And I guess we'll end with our vegetable garden, which is small. We have some friends who grow in this upper area here. They were actually here before I started here, but they grow up there. And then down here, this is kind of our small vegetable garden, because really this year, I'm focusing on getting the compost facility and doing the proper things we need to get to that next level. And I'm going to close this video by just talking about that briefly, because it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. We want to create a membership-based compost collection relationship with our community, where we'll come to your house and we'll pick up your food scraps, we'll make compost out of it, and then we'll deliver you compost for your garden in the future. We want to support your gardening efforts first, because that is what the Harvest Collective is doing. We're really just trying to build that resiliency in our personal hands around us. So we want to help you to grow at your place or wherever you're at. And if you can't grow there, you can come hopefully join us out here sometime. But we'll collect food scraps from anybody in the city on a customer basis. So we'll come by in the truck and you'll have a bucket that has a compostable liner in it that you will fill up with all your household food waste and then put it out at the curb on a Tuesday or a Thursday or Wednesday. And we'll come by and we'll pick it up and we'll bring it back to our facility and we'll compost it there. It's going to be a facility that uses 4 static aerated compost bins that are very large. Basically, we're going to hook up a big bouncy house blower onto a PVC air manifold underneath our compost pile that's set into some 4x6s. We've got it drawn out. We've thought about it. And then you fill that up with all the food waste you collect in a week that's mixed with also wood chips. So food waste, wood chips, and a small amount of chicken manure will probably be our feedstock for our compost processing. And that will take 4 weeks in the bin and measuring the temperatures to make sure they get over 145 degrees. And once it's that hot, it kills off any bacteria or pathogens, and it also decomposes. The microbes interact together to decompose that food waste and some of the wood chips into usable soil. And this would be great soil for adding into your own garden or for building raised beds out of. And we really want to build this resiliency for Roanoke here so that we can have a soil producer in the city. We don't have one yet. And we're not going to be able to say, go to every house in Roanoke and collect all of that food waste and process it at our facility, because it's going to be a relatively small facility considering. But we can open up an opportunity in a market for the people who really want to engage in that type of activity based on their earth stewardship desires. And you know, we need to do something about climate change, and we need to do something about building up our local ecosystems so that they are more diverse, so that the diversity and expression of life can express itself without us spraying all over it and mowing it all down and cutting it all down for the sake of our own material wealth. It is this relationship that nature on a personal level that is our path out of this destruction on all levels, and I believe that to the core of my soul. And so I share this work with you humbly and ask that we all connect to make a more sustainable planet. I live here in Roanoke, Virginia, so this is my piece in the cosmic puzzle of this soul revival and heart-based energy connecting with the earth. I am so grateful for your time. Happy Earth Day. Shout out to the collective, Hunter, Ron, Aaron, Taylor, Chris Peckman. Gosh, now I gotta think of everybody. Katie Struble, LEAP for local food, Clean Valley Council, Apple Ridge Farm, you know, the people who have been a part of my life, the One Valley and Carver Garden, and all these people doing incredible work here in Roanoke City. Like, I see y'all, I love y'all, I'm so grateful for y'all. Mary Lou Kegley. That's why we're here, folks. She's the gatekeeper. Bless Mary Lou Kegley. This is her land that we're doing all this on, so big shout out.